Kahnawake Kahnawake and welcome to another episode of Sawen Aorihwa.
We'll be bringing you up to date on all that's happening in and around Kahnawake.
In recent headlines, the community decision-making process has held their first meeting. However, the process itself is causing some reaction in the community. Regan, maybe you can give us some of the details on this.
Yeah, they did hold their first hearing Wednesday, the 30th of September, and we're going to toss to a quick story in just a few minutes. I did attend, and without biasing the piece, we're just going to go to a story, but there was some reaction from the Longhouse. And there was also a letter to the editor in Aorihwa, which is KahnawakeNews.com, from Kenneth Deere explaining why he found the new Justice Act and the whole the community decision-making process to be faulty. And then the Longhouse statement came out within, a couple of days, and they made a very particular statement that basically says we do not support this and these are the reasons why. So we're going to take a look at some of that right now. The Mohawk Council's new community decision-making process attracted over 85 community members to its first hearing. The topic and questions debated were, should Kahnawake have its own judicial system? Although the mandate for the Kahnawake Justice Commission to develop a Kahnawake Justice Act was not given, Chief Mike Bush says the hearing was a success.
I'm really impressed with the way it turned out. I mean, the numbers could have been greater, and I'm hoping that subsequent meetings after the word gets out into the community.
Why would you say it was a success? What made it a success?
Because we had participation from the community. What I was impressed about last night was that was a demonstration of the community participating in the creation of governance institutions. So I'm really pleased with that.
The evening unfolded with community members first being divided into 3 groups. Clans were not utilized, but the format did resemble a traditional system. A presentation was made regarding the process and introducing that each group had a facilitator, resource person, recorder, and a representative from the Chief's Oversight Committee. Then each group was asked to answer as a collective a series of questions which would determine if the Justice Commission would receive a community mandate to develop a Community Justice Act. However, only one question was answered: should Kahnawake have its own justice system? After lengthy debates, all 3 groups were able to come to a consensus and agree to a single answer to the question. In the end, consensus was that Kahnawake does need its own justice system, but one that is unique to Kahnawake and takes into account our culture and traditions and respects tradition principles including peace, power, righteousness, and respect.
The purpose in this particular instance, this whole community decision-making process, is that we have all of these laws that Kahnawake has created: Peacekeeper law, the ATV law, ABC law. We have no place to take them in the event there's some kind of an offense, an omission, some situation. We can't take it to the court of Kahnawake because they have no jurisdiction over it. This is about creating that jurisdiction so that we have a place to take those things. Peacekeepers will enforce a law, but then where do they take it to have it adjudicated or decided? That's what we need, and this is the beginning.
Not everyone feels enthusiastic about this new process. In fact, the Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake issued a very stern statement this week regarding the initiative. On Wednesday, September 30th, the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake will inaugurate its community decision-making process, which will determine whether or not its Justice Commission will receive a mandate to develop the Kahnawake Justice Act. The Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake is dismayed to learn of recent instances. During its campaign to promote the community decision-making process, the MCK has commandeered references, symbols, and terminology synonymous with the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. On 2 separate occasions this week, the Montreal Gazette published articles celebrating the MCK's community decision-making process as traditional and culturally authentic. No doubt the result of an effective campaign designed to purport the appearance of this new process as one that exists within the sovereign framework of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. This misrepresentation is further demonstrated by its own documentation that it insists it is a part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and that it is governed by the Gayanaragoa. The Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake considers such dishonesty as deplorable and unacceptable. The Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake will not recognize any legislation passed through the MCK's community decision-making process, nor will it tolerate this misrepresentation. The Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake formally instructs the MCK to cease and desist from using any references, symbols, or terminology that suggests a relationship with the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and its constitution. The Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake further released another statement this week saying that it does not consent to a justice mandate. While the Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake is not opposed to a communal justice system that is separate from the jurisdiction of Canada and Quebec, there are some considerable factors that both impede and discourage our council from supporting any mandate to pursue a Kahnawake Justice Act. Most notably, our objection is theoretical in nature, as the Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake cannot accept any communal justice system without it first recognizing the laws and authority of the Haudenosaunee Grand Council of Chiefs, the Mohawk Nation Council of Chiefs, and communal resolutions legislated through the Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake, people of the Longhouse. Without a commitment to recognize traditional authorities and the laws they pass, the Mohawk Nation at Kahnawake cannot consent to any mandate that would empower the Kahnawake Justice Commission to develop a Kahnawake Justice Act. Both press releases can be found in full on their website.
It was to be expected. Here again, myself, the Justice Commission, we have been making efforts, we've been providing invitations to participate, take off the hat as a member of the community, as somebody who's going to be impacted by what goes on in the community. We would ask them to participate. I've been doing it repeatedly. This is another invitation, This is not about, where you're coming from and what philosophy you have. This is about Kahnawake, all of us together. And if we can make some kind of inroad there, I'd be really happy. In fact, we're going to be sending them another letter. The next question is, what should this institution do? What should it be concerned with? And I'm looking forward to that too.
The hearing ended around 9 p.m. as expected. However, the next hearing, which is scheduled for next Wednesday, October 7th, has a change of venue, which is Aorihwa School. For Sawen Aorihwa, I'm Regan Jacobs-Stalk.